Hello everyone, and welcome to another very beautiful and a very instructive chess game of Paul Morphy. And in this game, once again, Paul Morphy's opponent is John William Schulten. And I know I have showed too many games of Paul Morphy against John William Schulten, but for me the chess game itself is more important than who is playing the chess game. So like the other games of Paul Morphy against John William Schulten, this game is also a very instructive chess game. So I found this game a very beautiful and a very entertaining chess game at the same time. So that's why I chose this game to demonstrate. And this game shows how to sacrifice at the most important moment of the game. So Paul Morphy made some brilliant moves in this game, and Schulten is playing with the white pieces, so Paul Morphy has the black pieces. And John William Schulten starts the game with playing e4, e5, f4, King's Gambit. Paul Morphy accepts the gambit, the challenge. Bishop to c4, d5, e takes on d5, knight to f6, knight to c3, bishop to d6, knight to f3, and both players castled. Bishop to g4, d4, knight from b to d7, knight to e2, and then knight to b6. Paul Morphy is attacking the bishop, so Schulten played bishop to b3, and then Paul Morphy captures the pawn, and Paul Morphy is a pawn up. c4, knight to e3 by Paul Morphy, forking the queen and the rook, so Schulten has to capture the knight, and he played bishop takes on e3, f takes on e3, queen to d3, and Schulten is attacking the pawn, rook to e8, bishop to c2, bishop to h5, knight to h4, and Paul Morphy played bishop to g6, knight takes bishop, and Paul Morphy captures the knight with the h-pawn. c5, attacking the bishop. And this is the moment that I was talking about in the beginning of the game. So what would you do in this position if you had the black pieces? So can you guess the next move of Paul Morphy? What would you do? Well, Paul Morphy played bishop takes on h2, sacrificing the bishop. And Schulten captures the bishop, but then knight to g4, that's check. And after thinking long and hard, Schulten decided to play king to g3. And what happens if king goes back to his home? Let's say king to g1. Then we have queen to h4, threatening to play queen to h2. How to defend? So the only logical defense, one of the only logical defense, is rook to f4 maybe, then queen to h2, check, king to f1, queen to h1, knight to g1, knight to h2, check, king to e1, and then queen takes knight. And if king to e2, then queen takes on g2, king to e1, queen takes knight, check, king to e2, queen to g2, king to e1, queen to g3, king to e2, and then queen takes rook. A disaster for white. So you get the picture. So after knight to g4, Schulten played king to g3, but then queen to g5 by Paul Morphy. And Schulten played rook to f5. And in this position, if let's play a random move, let's say a3, then knight to f2, check, king to f3, queen to g4, checkmate. If king to h2, then queen to h4, check, king to g1, queen to h1, checkmate. So white is in trouble. That's why Schulten played rook to f5, and then Paul Morphy captures the rook. Queen takes on f5. Schulten is trying everything for prolonging the game. Queen takes queen, bishop takes on f5, knight to f6, saving the knight, king to f3, g6, bishop to c2, rook from a to d8, rook to d1, king to g7, knight to f4, knight to d5, knight takes knight. And before capturing the knight, Paul Morphy played e2, attacking the rook, rook to e1, and then Paul Morphy captures the knight. And after this move, Schulten had enough, and he resigned. And what a beautiful chess game by Paul Morphy. So everything is very obvious in this position. So black has two rooks, and also black has a one extra pawn, and this endgame is losing for white. But let me demonstrate the possible continuation, only for entertainment. So how to defend the pawn? There is no way, so let's say a random move, bishop to e4, and then rook takes on d4, rook takes on e2, but then f5, bishop takes on b7, rook takes rook, king takes on e2, rook to b4, saving the bishop, and then black captures another pawn. And this is completely losing for white. So that's why after Paul Morphy simply captures the knight with the rook, Schulten had enough and he resigned. And I hope you have enjoyed watching this very beautiful chess game of Paul Morphy. And I hope to see you next time. Take care.